Joining us on the show, everyone, as Anambra moves closer to the November governorship election, the political atmosphere is charged. Governor Charles Soludo is banking on both incumbency and his performance in the past 4 years, while opposition forces are also regrouping to test whether a coalition of dissatisfied voters can upset the status quo. Just weeks ago, we saw the by-election where voter turnout was some kind of a telling sign of public sentiment. And many now ask whether that mood could shape the bigger race ahead. Meanwhile, INEC says it's ready, but questions linger around logistics, security, and voter confidence. Into this mix steps the African Democratic Congress presented itself as a coalition of change. Its candidate, John Nwobu, has promised a one-term people-first government, and alongside him is a man who knows the political terrain well, former PDP chairman in Anambra, now ADC running mate. He joins me today on Beyond the Headlines. Mr. Ndubuisi is the deputy governorship candidate of the ADC. Mr. Nwobu, thank you for joining us, and welcome to Beyond the Headlines.
Thank you for having me.
Indeed, you were recently the PDP chairman in Anambra, deeply entrenched in the state's political establishment. What exactly pushed you out of the PDP, and today you're running on the platform of the ADC?
Well, basically, first and foremost, I wasn't pushed out of the PDP. I left the PDP out of my own volition. I got to the point of being the state chairman of the party, and thereafter was elected a national executive member of the party. But when we saw that things were not really gelling well with our party, you see, the essence of a party is to contest for power. The moment a party gets to the point that it cannot validly run for an election or be seen to be contesting for power, that party loses its ingredients.
Or was it
as a political party
at the state level?
No, it wasn't a problem at the state level. The problem of PDP is a national issue.
Well, PDP still has some elected governors.
Definitely. There's no doubt about that. It's not a matter of having some elected governors. These days, you don't count about elected governors when you don't even know when they will cross carpet to any other party. It's very troubling times. I can tell you, times when some people will be just the governor of their party and they will rally forces to make sure that their party gets stronger and stronger.
But I'll tell you what your critics say. They say your move reflects the transactional nature of Anambra politics, shifting alliances, depending on election cycles. So how do you convince voters that this is more than just political survival?
If my getting into the ADC has anything to do with transactional politics, then I wouldn't be in the ADC. I should be joining other parties that are in government. If it's a transactional
like ABGA, right?
Yeah, like ABGA, like the APC, and the case. If my politics is transactional, but in the ADC, joining the ADC,
maybe they won't give you a space in ABGA because you were chairman of the PDP.
Hold on, I want you to get me. No, yes. Listen, we are founders of ABGA in itself. Even the people that are in ABGA today have lost. They don't have the sense of the history of ABGA completely. What I want to make you understand is this. Joining the ADC is joining a party to work, where you put in your resources, you put in your time, you put in your intellect to build up a party virtually from the scratch. So it can be, nobody can ever equate it to be a transactional nature of politics. That's not it. My passion is to be, I've been available for public service for the past 30-something years. And it's the passion to serve my people that has led me to join the ADC, being a platform that people in Anambra State look upon today as an alternative platform.
Have you always nursed this ambition, even as PDP chairman? To be deputy governor?
No. I've always nursed, I've always had that aspiration that I should be available for service to my people.
Governor Soludo has the power of incumbency and the open praise of President Nwobu, as you're aware. Some call that an unbeatable combination. So realistically, what's the pathway for the ADC in this election?
Well, the power of incumbency becomes powerful when you've delivered, when you've been able to perform. The essence of creating an opportunity for a second term is if the person has performed creditably well in his or her first term, then the person will be given a pathway.
You don't think it's performed?
No, not at all, not at all. It's been a failure. You see, listen, there are things, there's no grandstanding in this. The major problem, the first responsibility of any government is to the protection of life and property of the citizenry. The insecurity in Anambra State is beyond the roof.
Are you saying it got worse under his administration?
Greatly got worse. Greatly
but
got
government
worse.
is reporting that it has improved.
No, listen, this...
they were making reference to the improvements with the sit at home and what have you.
These are not matters of semantics, okay? You see, insecurity, if for a government to be able to take charge of security situations, that government has to be very intentional about it. For 3 years plus, His Excellency, the Governor of Anambra State, left the issue of security. I can tell you, I've said it the other time, I said again, I stand to be challenged before TVC today. Let the government of Anambra State tell us any police formation they have bought a bicycle for in Anambra for the past 3 years plus. Okay? Now,
are you saying the state government hasn't bought equipment for security agencies?
I put a challenge. I said I put a challenge to them. See, today the state police is not.
Well, they have equipped the local security agency.
I'll come to that.
Yes.
I'll come to that. I said for today, the state, no state has the power to set up its own state police institution. Okay, so you have the Nigerian Police Force, you have the SSSS, you have the Navy, you have the Army, you have the Air Force. They are all under the federal government charge. But incidentally, these people are in your state to protect your citizens. So the first thing any government that is conscious about security should do is to support the conventional security. Support them in terms of providing them with all the enabling facilities, vehicular, technology, situation room, okay? You need to support that conventional security. Then, the vigilante or the state-owned outfit, the thoughtfulness, great, but coming at a very late time, okay, towards an election period.
Are you going to disband it if you
No, hold on. I said the thoughtfulness, very great. The idea about Agone Chamber, Udogachi, very great. But you see, when you are not intentional about a project, then there's bound to be failure in terms of executing it.
What exactly is wrong with it?
Thank you. Now, if you want to get the vigilantes involved, the Agone Chamber, the Udogachi, like I said, very great idea, okay? First and foremost, if you are intentional about it, you need to profile those that you're putting in place. The first thing is to profile them. When you've profiled them, then you make sure that every one of them that is going to be brought into the system has a surety or a guarantor. So that anything that happens, you know how to be able to reach that person. The second thing is that you must train them. This was just haphazardly brought together. No proper. You train somebody on how to handle arms. Then you train anybody who handles arms on security-civil relationship. It's definite.
But if
they've been trained on civil security relationship,
yes,
the incidences people have been hearing that had been making Anambra look like a state that doesn't have needed decorum.
Government says it's taking disciplinary action, following, for instance, that assault on the NYC member.
I want you to get me clear. That incident happened almost a month and a half ago. Okay, and then when they are allowed until when it came to light, before they started telling people that they are going to take security, they are going to take, they're going to punish those who are involved. That's not right. That's what I'm talking about. You must profile those you're going to put into security. And then you need to train them. There are ways a security personnel can approach a civilian. There are ways. There are rules of conduct. Okay? But because they were haphazardly brought together, these rules of conduct was not imparted into them. Again, even the Udogachi and the Agone Chamber, I can tell you, I feel for those young men, again, myself, on my own part, because if you're going to deploy them to go and chase criminals and the rest of them, you need to give them befitting vehicles. okay? Not Nigerian used vehicle that you took to mechanic and then panabited them and painted them. You need to give them vehicles that can be on the road, that can move swiftly at any point in time. And then you need to equip those vehicles.
We'll talk more about this and what ADC is offering differently. But you and the governorship candidates have made a one-time pledge, which Governor Soludo mocked as a sign of unseriousness. As his running mate, do you really believe one term is enough to turn around Anambra, or is this just a political gimmick to attract attention?
My very dear Governor, His Excellency Soludo, was the same person who said that he who repeats a class is a dullard. Going for second term is not repeating a class. What is he going for? If he said he who repeats a term, a class is a dullard, why is he going for second term? Okay. Now, as to John Chumanwosu being in the politics of Anambra State, and I, for one, being a seasoned politician in the state has come to adopt the rotational governorship project, where each zone has an 8-year tenure. Okay? And today it is the tenure of the people from Anambra South, of which Soludo is from Anambra South, because Anambra South is composed of Ihiala, Ekwusigo, Nnewi North, Nnewi South, Agwata, Orumba North, Orumba South. Okay? So Soludo happened to be from that zone. He is already about completing his 4-year tenure. Okay? Which is the one of the tenures for that zone. The second tenure is another 4 years. John Chumanwosu happens to come from Nnewi in the Nnewi.
And I understand that clearly, but the point I'm making is this. Because political stakeholders are of the opinion that, yes, you want to serve the remaining 4 years, but you don't believe in his policies and directions. That means you're going to start all over again in another 4 years, which gives you not enough time to be able to complete what you're bringing on the table.
See, we are Anambrarians, okay? We know the challenges facing Anambra people. That's why John Chumanwosu and myself had been able to put it into what we call the 7 key pillars, the SHEMS, which the first is security. The second issue is health, okay? The third issue is education. The fourth issue is economy. The fifth issue is the environment. The sixth is market. You know, Anambrarians are good traders, okay? And then you have the social welfare. See, the problems confronting Anambra State, it's well understood by us.
And you can fix it in 4 years.
Definitely within 4 years.
Let us talk about revenue.
Not only has he promised, it's not just a statement of the mouth. He sworn to an affidavit, which will be placed before Anambrarians during a televised debate. Okay? He will place the sworn affidavit that he will run for a tenure of 4 years to complete the 8 years for the Anambra South. And the
well, I guess time will tell whether the majority of citizens in Anambra will buy that. But revenue collection is one of the sore points in Anambra State, as you have claimed. We're going to go on a short break, and when we return, we're going to touch on quite a number of issues that have been raised ahead of this election and get the ADC perspective to it. Stay with us, everyone. Thanks for staying with us, everyone. I'm joined by the former PDP chairman in Anambra State, who is now the deputy governorship candidate of the ADC, Mr. Ndubuisi Nwobu. Thank you so much for staying the course on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Let's talk about revenue collection, which has been a talking point for Anambra. Keke riders, market women often call it oppressive. You are proposing tax cuts and ending brutal enforcement. But how will you plug the revenue gap and keep government running?
Thank you. Like our first pillar in all that we look forward to doing in Anambra State is security. If you rein in insecurity, Anambrarians are great business men and entrepreneurs. And if they bring in their resources into the state by setting up factories, setting up agric businesses and the rest of them in Anambra State, okay? Once they are secure, you know, people can't even go to farm these days. if we have that security and then people get in those businesses, okay, you find out that government's revenue will be coming from big businesses, okay? If we have like the sub-miller we have in Onitsha, if we have about 20 companies of that nature in Anambra State, you will be sure that the revenue that will be accruing to the government will be so huge that they do not need to be bringing people who carry akodo and be chasing people selling granite, people selling peanuts, people selling akra, people selling mango. You don't need to. Those people need social intervention from government because they are barely surviving. They are barely surviving. So chasing them up and down with akodo and the rest of them, we will get those who are involved in akodo. We remove the akodo from them, get them engaged, gainfully engaged through our internal revenue program, whereby they are off-takers. Okay? And, you know, there's opacity in governance in Anambra today in terms of accounting. Okay? But when you have e-governance, the citizens will be able to follow and track the revenue coming into the state and be able to know to what use are they being deployed.
You agree that...
So definitely you don't need akodo for internal revenue generation. To
be able to implement, you know, these proposed ideas, you have to win this election first. And your critics argue that your party lack structure in Anambra. So what's the presence like at the ward level, you know, polling agents, grassroots machinery needed to protect votes in November?
It's laughable when people see me in this project and someone will tell you that...
But you have left the PDP.
Hold on.
Did you go to ADC with the structure?
Hold on. See me in the project and somebody will tell you that the ADC lacks structures in Anambra State, then that person does not understand the politics of the state. Okay? My movement crystallized people who are grassroots-based politicians across the 326 wards in Anambra State, joining forces with the ADC. Listen, I am one person that I can sit down as we're here now and call 10 persons from each ward on phone. 10 persons minimum on phone. And they will go to work any minute, any day because we are involved, because they know we mean well for Anambrarians. So ADC has the grassroots structure.
Did your party field any candidate in the just concluded by-election?
Sure we did. No
how
doubt.
did that turn out? Because they say that's a litmus test as to...
No, it can't be the litmus test.
How prepared your party is for this election?
We are very much prepared. It can be, the by-election cannot be used as a litmus test, I can tell you. And again, if somebody says, I've done well, I've worked well for the state, and then you bring out candidates and then you're sending through your agents and your aides 20,000, 30,000 to buy a voter to vote for your party.
Who did that?
Shame. That is a great shame. That's what the ABGA did in the by-election.
You saw them pay voters to vote.
It was an open.
Do you have evidence to prove?
It was an open bazaar. I can tell you.
You know, because you can be sued for that, and then you would.
I'll be happy to be sued for that. I'll be very happy for them to sue me for that. I can tell you. Listen, if you've done well, allow your job, the job you've done, allow the things you've done to speak for itself. Okay? If we had security in Anambra State, if the health sector had been taken care of, if the infrastructures are being provided as and when due and where required, not lopsided, there wouldn't be any need for His Excellency to be running around campaigning. His works will be campaigning for him.
Do you have confidence in INEC's capacity to deliver a free and credible election in November?
Well, I'm an optimist. And I believe that every institution should be given, there should be that trust element until they prove otherwise. I believe that we should give INEC the latitude for them to do what they need to do. You see, if I'm in INEC, for instance, unfortunately, so many things are happening in this country that you start to wonder. It's not my business who wins. The important thing is, have I followed the processes? Has the right thing been done? whoever emerges then becomes the candidate that is chosen by the people of the state.
So if the election doesn't go your way, you and your party will respect the outcome?
Why not if not? If the election is free, fair, and credible, come, this is not a do and die affair. Okay? And again, I want you to note, it's only God that crowns kings. However you work hard, however you run around, whatever you do, if it is not God's wish for you to emerge victorious in an election, you will not emerge. Okay? So once anyone who has faith in God should not arrogate to himself or herself, I must win. It's either me or nobody. No, that is not the kind of politics we are involved in. We're involved in the politics. We want to talk to Anambrarians. We have presented ourselves as a credible alternative to the people of Anambra State, and I believe that Anambrarians will buy into their...
But you agree that this is going to be a tough contest because there's the incumbent APGA, there's APC, there's PDP,
no contest is
and then ADC appears to be the newcomer here.
No contest is going to be easy. No contest is an easy one, okay? If we say, we wish away the governor or the APGA, or we wish away the APC, then we'll go and be sleeping, and they will win the election, okay? It's not going to be an easy election, but the truth of the matter is that Anambrarians are clamoring for an alternative, and they have seen that alternative in the ADC.
I'll quickly take you back to the single-term promise. How do you respond to voters who consider, who worry that pledges like tax cuts that you've mentioned, rapid electricity reform and e-government, within 4 years sound more of a lofty promise than, grounded realities?
It's not a lofty promise. Okay, you see, it's like if I now say that, which we've already pledged, that we will allow the local government to be autonomous in line with the Supreme Court judgment. You cannot have a Supreme Court judgment saying local government should be autonomous, and at the same time you go to at the back and then make laws to hamstring the local government, and then you're taking the resources of the local government to the state. Oh, so that means that you are not campaigning to Anambrarians to provide Dubai, Taiwan, in Anambra using local government funds. So why would you be clamping on those funds? See, what we've said we will do in Anambra are things that are well thought out and are things that are achievable within 4 years. Right. Mind you, we're all in this game, we're all in politics, we're all politicians, okay? And if you don't get to do that which you promised the people, they know you've not done it. Okay, like our governor, His Excellency Soludo, promised conduct of local government election within 6 months. It took 2 years. And then whatever happened there, I don't know whether he called that one an election.
We have to go now. Perhaps when you come again, we're going to touch on the prospect of the ADC at the national level, because at the start of this conversation, you mentioned why you left the PDP. It was a problem with the national party. But coalitions in Nigerian politics often collapse under ego and interest. So we are hoping that the ADC doesn't follow. If the
APC coalition could stand,
then the ADC
and then had been able to bring up 2 presidents.
So you are saying the ADC has a lot to learn from the APC.
The ADC coalition will stand the test of time, and they are the party to beat.
Good place to leave it. Ndubuisi Nwobu is the deputy governorship candidate of the ADC in Anambra. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And we wish you all the best. That's our show today, everyone. Remember, you can watch